Hello my friends. Well, I'm back on my shed. In the last couple of days I've actually been coming out here and playing a little bit with the lathe and adjusting a few things, setting it up, checking on the status of my wood, which by the way is a complete disaster out there. It's been neglected way too long, and you know, the insects and everything else is having a feast at it. But anyway, I decided I wanted to put this video together. Put on a log, a pine log, onto the lathe, and I turned it up, cleaned up the bark and all that stuff. And much to my amazement, you know, and I think that this is what this video is about, is as great as it is to get exotic woods and beautiful colors and grains, and even some of them hardwoods are actually easier to turn. But you know, you don't have to go with exotic woods to end up with something really nice. For instance, I mean, I have turned a couple of vases out of these pieces when the wood was green, and the color of the vase is very blonde in color and very uniform. You know, even though it has these little specks going across, making some sort of a pattern. I'm not sure exactly what contributed to that, but almost like pine needles in the way that they're formed. And I know that this is from a big trunk, so there were no pine needles literally attached to that, unless it's from when it was a very tiny tree. And those indentations just stood in it because it's like a spiral going around it, and I was amazed with that. But anyway, the log that I put on onto the lathe just recently has been outside for quite some time, and I started turning it. Not sure what I was going to be able to create out of it, whether it was going to be any good or not, but I was amazed the coloration that it took. From it being weathered, it's almost like it became spalted. There's no decay, but it has this wild, different tones of gray and yellow and brownish going up the wood, almost like flames coming out of it. So no enhancements done to it. I will make sure that I get a nice picture of it and post it up. I actually made two. The first one was something I had in here that I had started turning a while back, but it still was in here, not shaped or anything like that. But the bark was off it. It was somewhat true already, and that's the first one I did. I decided to put it up on the lathe, and I created this vase, you know, that I thought was really, really nice looking. I'm not crazy about the shape of it, but the turning turned out very nice. It's nice and thin all the way through. As a matter of fact, I can see daylight all the way through it if I hold it up to daylight outside. Not even a bright light, but it's a little bit thinner than what I probably wanted it to be. I have this tendency to do a lot of turning, and I'm listening to the wood as I'm hollowing, rather than using a gauge, which is probably a little bit more accurate than my ear, and get a true thickness. I'm going for that drummy, hollow sound that you get out of the wood when you're coming up pretty thin, and that's usually my stopping point. I know that it's thin, I just don't realize how thin at times. So I urge you, you know, if you're going to be doing this, you know, don't do it that way. Get a gauge, make one up, they're easy enough to make. It's just, I get out here and I get antsy, I want to create something real quick, and just go at it. I don't have anything better to do. If it blows out, it blows out. As long as I'm wearing protective gear, if I get it trued out, I might be okay with this area. Now, ideally, this is not the best layout for me, because these two knots are going to be kind of in the center of the vase, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm going to try, once I get the bark out and I start roughing it up, I'm going to see exactly what I'm going to be able to do with this. Now, I'm going to start this off with my 3/4 inch roughing gouge, and going to be staying out of the way. I know some of this is going to be flying away on me, so it will shoot out and I should be fine with it. Okay, that's close enough. Okay, what I'm thinking of doing on this is at the base, keep it fairly narrow, which will be on this end, actually. So I can make it then, I'm going to make it on this end. I'm going to true this edge up right now, make a tendon over here to go into my jaws, and I'll work everything. So on this side, I'm going to bevel this down quite a bit, and I'm going to keep the bowl going on an outward position like this. At the top, make a sharp edge going in and a small neck on it, and then hollow it up on the inside. Okay, I'm back, and I have this vase more or less to the shape that I want. It's kind of been rough sanded, but I can do a lot of work without finalizing it. I'm gonna do is hollow this out as close as I can, keeping it about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch in thickness all the way through. I'm going to use my 1/2 inch gouge. Now, I'm not using this in between centers. So let's see how I do on this. Sometimes I'm guilty. I forget to put this on. But for everybody's sake, for your sake, make sure that you wear a safety shield. Once you get something in your eyes or get hit on the face with a a piece, then you can't turn back the clock and say, ooh, I should have done it. Do it to start off with. This is all end grain going through here for the full depthness. So, you know, got to make sure you got a nice sharp tool. So I'm actually going to touch this one up. Okay, we've got a nice sharp edge on here. Let's see if that works a little bit better. When you do something like this, don't be in too much of a rush to get to the end. It's a lengthy process, nice and easy cut. One thing that I still need for my lathe is a steady rest for this type of turning. Now, something else you can do to assist with the turning is by pre-drilling this. That will make things a little bit easier. Onto the flush method. Against the side of the piece, and I'm feeling for any lumps and letting the tool cut very lightly along the sides, and basically just following the shape of the piece. I'm listening to the tone of the wood as well, and you kind of get a feel for where you are thick and thin. Now, on this, I'm not going to attempt to go too thin on the bottom. I want to maintain a little bit of weight. I got about an inch at the bottom, so I'm just going to take off maybe another ½ inch or so. Nice and smooth. A little bit of a ridge, but I'm pretty thin right over here at this transition from the neck into the body, so I cannot take any more here. So, and I cannot feel all the way in. I cannot fit my hand in there. I still got a little area that I can see where the drill bit went into. So I got to take a little bit more off there. Well, that looks good. The cuts are very smooth. I think I'll get by with just the sanding out here and going around this transition. Sorry, this isn't going towards other wood turners that are going to make sure that they get their hands all the way in to feel it. But if it did, you wouldn't be too disappointed with it. So what I'm going to use in there and finish it up. Alright, I got some 80 grit on here from a belt. I'll use this up and get most of this done. 400 inside and out as much as I could, and so far I've given it 2 coats of the shine juice, which is a mix of shellac, denatured alcohol, and boiling seed oil. And right now I'm about to apply 1 coat for now of wipe-on polyurethane. I want to get a little bit more of a luster on this. Now, what I've applied up to now should not be a problem at all with applying polyurethane on the top of that, because they're both oil-based and alcohol as well, which is a solvent just as well as a... So, give it a light coat of wipe-on. I tell you, this wood from being aged looks really pretty. I'll give you a close-up. It's as almost like it's